Hey guys, this is Chowder, and today I want to make a tier list for Incubus and their albums. Um, my history with this band is back around 2017. Uh, I heard Crow Left of a Murder because my dad had the album, so I heard him play it in the car, and I was like, wow, this I thought it sounded like really good, and I hadn't really heard anything like it, and so I listened to that album front and back, and then I think it was the spring of 20. I don't remember. I think it was the spring of 2019 or spring of 2018. But I found we had the Morning View album, and I didn't know anything existed beyond Crow Left of a Murder, so I listened to the Morning View album, and instantly I liked pretty much all the songs. I mean, a lot of them grew on me, but eventually I just listened to it front and back, every song. And yeah, so that album I found a couple years ago, and that was like the second that I really enjoyed. Um, and then in 2020, like the earlier, like 2020, probably I don't know, fall. I uh I was I think I was listening to it was like Spotify or Pandora, listening to whatever I was at the time. I was kind of out of Incubus, but then I decided to look at their albums, and I saw Science was like their first one that was displayed on that app, so I started listening to Science, and I heard songs like Redefine, Vitamin, New Skin, like, and I was just like, oh wow, because um, Science, yeah, it blew me away. I was like, this is like the best thing I've ever heard before. Um, and the rest of these albums I've kind of just discovered afterwards. Some not so great, but I'll talk about them more in depth. So, uh, let's see, what do I start with? All right. So, like I said, Morning View. Every song on here is good. There's not one song I don't like. Um, and most they have a few singles on there. Just really great stuff. Songs like "Nice to Know You," "Wish You Were Here," 11 a.m., um, "Circles." Did I mention that? I don't know, but they're all really good. And then there's some melodic tracks like "Echo" and "Aqueous Transmission." Yeah, and yeah, so just very there's a lot of relaxing music, and then harder stuff too. But it's more of a conservative album, not as experimental as some of the others, but a very good piece of artwork to listen to. And the first album I was ever introduced to, Crow Left of the Murder, I'd have to put in A tier because um, it's not S tier because there's a few songs on there I really don't like. They kind of get boring, and a lot of the music on this one's harder to listen to. It's not as accessible. It's a lot more crazy and weird. Um, but the one song on this album that really got me was "Six Sad Little World," and that this is one of the songs I could say that was one of those times where I was like, "Wow, like this is insane! Like I've never heard something like this before." Uh, and I would just play that on the drums all the time. I did covers of it, and yeah, I'd listen to that nonstop. That one song, so that's why I'm putting this album in A, because this is what started me into liking Incubus. Um, Next up, we'll do uh, hmm, we'll do Make Yourself. This album, uh, I started listening to it a year or two ago, and it's pretty good. It's got their main singles like Drive, Stellar, Pardon Me, all the ones that you hear on the radio. And this was the album that put them on the map. But I'm not a big fan of it. It's more rock and yeah, it's okay. But I really like their singles on here, and then they have it's just it's a solid album, but it's nothing too crazy. It's just important because it's what made them popular. Um, Now, let's see. All right, Light Grenades. This is the album that came out after Crow Left of the Murder, but so it has a similar sound. It's more progressive, kind of indie rock, more laid back, and just like relaxing vibes. Um, but there's only a few songs on it that I like. Uh, hmm, yeah, I think I'll put this before. No, yeah, I'll put that in A. It's a decent album, but there's a few songs on there that like I just can't listen to. It's like sometimes it just doesn't interest you at all. Speaking of not interesting, we got Incubus 8, which is their 2017 album after their hiatus. It's terrible. I don't like a single song on there, and that's why it's going to be in D tier. I don't think I've even gotten through the whole album. It was so bad. Uh, and their album from 2011, If Not Now When, I actually listened to the whole thing today, and I thought it's their mellow kind of album. It's more of where Brandon kind of just was being more artistic with his vocals. The band kind of held back a lot. It was more just slow, relaxing, paced music, which has its place. Not my thing too much, but it's all right. I'm gonna put this in. I'll put it in. Yeah, I'll put it in C tier. Now the album's Science, like I talked about. Every single song on this album's good. The first song, Redefined, with this is 1997, so you got the new metal and the rapping, the turntables, the heavy bass, and the crazy drums. It's all in that new metal kind of area, which I really like that sound. And yeah, you can't understand what the singer's saying half the time, but the music sounds good. So all the songs I really liked on there. Um, and then their first album, Fungus Among Us, is their first studio album, and it's all right. I'll put it in B tier because it's um it's got a few songs that just like are really like not well made, and but it's got a few that I personally really like. It's not very popular, but all in all, it's a good album. But anyway, yeah, this is my tier list of their studio albums. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and like, share the video, and let me know in the comments what your favorite album is. Have a good day.